For the past 40 years, NISMO has been the performance arm for Nissan. In fact, if you were looking for the ultimate driving Nissan, it doesn't get much better than this vehicle here. This is the Nissan Z NISMO, first introduced last year. It is one of the best driving sports cars that the company has ever produced. However, for 2026, NISMO is expanding the lineup to include that model right there. This is the first ever 2026 Armada NISMO. It's built off of the next generation Armada. It takes the design to the next level, of course, with an aggressive body kit. It has more power under the hood, and NISMO has also touched the suspension to make this car the best handling truck-based SUV that Nissan has ever produced. So today we're actually out here at a studio in West Hollywood, California, and now that we're finally seeing the new Armada NISMO in the sheet metal, let's go ahead and take a detailed first look. So when Nissan introduced the all-new third-generation Armada last year, this was a long-awaited vehicle for the company because, as you guys know, the Armada is their flagship SUV. It's a truck-based vehicle built, of course, on the same platform as the Nissan Patrol. But since we're talking about a NISMO version, let's go ahead and pop the hood and talk about the powertrain, because as you can see, it has a unique engine cover because NISMO has actually increased the power of this vehicle. It still uses the same 3.5-liter gasoline direct injection twin turbo V6 as part of the VR35DD-TT engine family, something that it shares actually with the block of a Nissan GTR. However, the company has massaged the engine to now make 460 horsepower. That's an increase of 35 ponies and the same 516 pound-feet of torque. So that actually makes this car more powerful versus the Infiniti equivalent, the QX80, which I was not expecting them to do. It still all goes out through a 9-speed automatic transmission, and you have their version, of course, of their full-time four-wheel drive system. They didn't talk about whether this car had like a limited slip differential, but of course, with the extra power, I'm expecting this car to be faster. The regular version, which I tested last year, did 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. I expect this car to be in the mid 5 seconds whenever we get one out on the road to actually test. Now, this is a big truck-based SUV. It can still tow a maximum of 8,500 pounds. And Nissan actually already talked about the fuel economy. It's rated at 16 in the city, 19 on the highway. That is required to run on premium gas. So that's one of the tuning changes they made for the engine to have it increase the power. And the curb weight, this is still a big, heavy body-on-frame SUV, weighing in at just over 6,000 pounds. So it's certainly no lightweight, but I have to admit the increase in the power was kind of an unexpected thing for me. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling, because as you can see, this color is called Stealth Gray. It was first revealed on the NISMO version of the Z, and I have to admit, with the styling upgrades they've made to the Armada NISMO, it certainly looks pretty interesting. You've got the signature red lines going across the grille along the front splitter. Of course, the front grille is also been enlarged to improve the cooling. You have their new Nissan logo, which almost looks like it's illuminated, but I think it's a nice, tasteful design. There's some functional air intake openings here. There's a big NISMO badge there in the center. And overall, you can see with the headlights, which are full LED, with the LED daytime running lights, LED low and high beams, no fog lights in the vehicle. But I have to admit, this front splitter, at first when I saw it in pictures, I wasn't so sure about it. But here in person with the built-in canards that allow airflow to kind of go over the brakes to help with cooling, it does essentially lower the front fascia by about 1/2 inch. And it also increases the overall length. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the design upgrades. I personally think it looks best probably in this stealth gray exterior color, but Nissan will also offer it in a white and a black exterior color as well. But if you want to follow me over to this side here, let's go ahead and talk about the wheels for this car. So as you can see, the NISMO gets a unique wheel option. These are a 22-inch forged wheel, which is technically the same size as other models, but I love the look of the spokes here with the gloss black, with the machine look. The brakes are just under 14 inches. They're the red painted caliper, a twin piston caliper. I'm actually surprised Nissan didn't upgrade the brakes to be larger, but it certainly looks much better. They did improve the cooling, of course, with the canards. You have the same size tire. It's a 275 by 50 Bridgestone Alenza all-season tires, so no summer tires, which I kind of am okay with because it's still supposed to be a family SUV. And then this car also comes with an adaptive air suspension, which has been NISMO tuned. So Nissan says at the lowest setting, it should have around 8.9 inches ground clearance. You can jack it up to have around 10.9, which is again 1/2 inch lower versus the regular Armada. Now you can see here, there's a faux vent over here with the big NISMO badge that kind of, breaks things up here in the fender area. The mirrors, as you can see, are black painted. They should be power folding with 360 camera, and you also have the integrated turn signals, of course. You have the black roof option as well. Nissan does offer a full paint finish, and then of course there's the big panoramic style sunroof as well to help let in some more light. In this color here, in this combination, I think the design looks really nice. In fact, the overall length of this car is a little over 210 inches long, so it's around 1 inch longer versus the regular version. That's because the bumpers basically extend out to increase the overall length. Wheelbase is the same, 121.1 inches long. So this is, again, a really large vehicle, but it's not the largest in the segment. Now you can see here some of the Nismo styling details include this Armada badge here, which is anodized red that kind of sits along the floating D-pillar. The rear spoiler also gets enlarged on this vehicle. Nissan says it actually adds functional aero. Not sure how much functional aero, but it certainly looks better at the back. You can see the rear also has the signature design cues with the full-length LED light bar that was taken from some of the premium models. The taillights are also a full LED. And then check out this rear bumper, guys. Super aggressive looking with more of that red line going across the rear of it with the Nismo badge. The one thing I'm actually surprised, no visible exhaust tips on this car. In fact, I was looking for the exhaust. It's literally tucked underneath the passenger side over there. The company did mention that they did put kind of like a sport tuned exhaust, so it has a meaner sound. I won't be able to start it up here, but I have to say I am looking forward to hearing what that sounds like, especially if they've been able to pull out a little bit deeper tones and make it sound a little bit more like a Nissan GT-R. Now looking at the cargo area, you can see a power liftgate is included. This trim is based off of the SL trim, so not technically the highest trim, but you're gonna get around 20.6 cubic feet of storage space back here, which is a pretty good amount. Some competitors do offer more, like the Tahoe and the Expedition, but this is still very, very usable, much better versus this car's main Japanese rival, the Sequoia. There is still a little bit of underfloor storage underneath the floor over here. Along, if you lift this up, you also get, looks like a jack, so there is a spare tire with this vehicle, so you don't have to deal with a fix-it-flat kit. If you fold down the back seats, which you can see Nissan allows you to do by pushing a little button here, you can see that expands the cargo to around 57 cubic feet of space. And what's great about the Armada, unlike the Sequoia, of course, because that vehicle has a live axle at the back, and a battery pack, you get around 57 cubic feet of space, and it also has a pretty flat load floor, which is nice. If you fold down the second row, which as you can see, captain's chairs are included in this model, you get a total of 97 cubic feet of space, which is not the most in this segment, but it is around 10 cubic feet less versus its main rival, the Toyota Sequoia. So again, the Armada offers plenty of practicality, and now, of course, for those of you who are enthusiasts, now you can get it with the Nismo tune that gives it the better handling dynamics that you wouldn't expect a body-on-frame SUV to have. Now moving on to the interior of the all-new Nismo version of the Armada, I have to say, just like the exterior, which had all the red accents, I hope you like red and black, because this interior color combination is the only way that you can get the Nismo version. You can see it has a combination of like their nice premium leather with some suede Alcantara. You have some diamond quilted stitching accents, of course, along with the different colors for the actual stitching. I also like the Nismo badge that's embroidered into the actual head restraints. These seats are heated and they're also massaging. I believe they adjust in like 14 different ways, but what you don't get on this car are ventilated seats, and that's because it's based on the SL trim. It would have been nice actually to have the ventilated seats. It already has the perforation, but maybe that's something Nissan will add later on. Now getting inside, you can see it has the same kind of tall step in height, but there are some nice running boards to help you get in as I shut the door. The door also has a really solid sounding thunk. Remember, this is built on the updated Nissan Patrol architecture. Now looking at the rest of this cabin, as you can see, it's pretty similar to what I've shown you in the other trim levels of the Armada. You can see there is a steering wheel here which has the Nismo badging here. It has nice perforated leather with the contrast red stitching, even along the airbag cover, which looks really nice. You have a power tilt telescoping wheel, which allows you to get a really comfortable driving position. And then the door panels, you can see, have really nice materials. There's suede Alcantara, a carbon fiber look trim here, along with some aluminum accented looking plastic. There's also interchangeable ambient lighting in this car. And then you have one touch up-down windows for all four, which is kind of what you expect for a vehicle in this price category. And then you can see here in the center, you have the twin 14.3-inch displays. So Nissan actually makes it standard on the Nismo version, so you don't have to go with the smaller 12.3. This again has their latest software, which includes wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It has Google built in, Amazon Alexa built in. It's actually one of the better infotainment systems you're going to find, and I love the way this looks. You can also bring up like a full 360 view with an ultra wide angle. There is no head-up display. That's something that you have to purchase if you guys want the, or if you want that feature, you have to go for the Platinum Reserve trim, which is technically a more luxury-oriented model. But you know, for a lower trim, or based off of a lower trim, you have some really nice leather with contrast stitch. The suede Alcantara continues over here, and I also love all of the actual buttons that Nissan gives you. You can see there's a volume knob. You have toggles here for the tri-zone climate control system. Your drive mode selector is here, which Nissan says there's also a new sport mode for this car, which they've apparently tuned to give you more visceral sounds, especially if you guys go put it in sport mode, because the Klipsch audio system in this car will help to enhance the sound. So you have the sport exhaust at lower tones. At higher revs, Nissan says when you put it into sport, the Klipsch audio will kind of amplify the sound of that V6. So I'll be looking forward to driving this vehicle at some point. You do have some other changes here, like the anodized red start-stop button here, which is kind of perfectly positioned in the dash along with your trailer brake controller. You can see the transmission selector is still here. You also get paddles behind the wheel to control the 9-speed auto, which is definitely a nice touch for enthusiastic driving. Open this up, you can see your wireless phone charging pad is here with some cup holders, and you have a nice padded center console area. If you open this up, you can see pretty deep size as well, so gives you all that additional covered storage, which is pretty nice. The seats also have the ability to adjust the bolster, so you can actually make this squeeze you a little bit tighter to kind of hold you in place during aggressive driving. Other than that, the seats look pretty much the same. They're really comfortable and supportive. And then above me here, you can see the big panoramic sunroof. Goes all the way into the second row area. It does open up to vent air, which is a nice touch. And then there's a nice woven material here for the headliner, which again, shows you that this is their flagship style vehicle. And you can see here the glove box. If you open that up, it's actually a bin style. It's damped but not lined with felt. Offers even more additional storage along with some nice storage down here. So that's really important, again, if you guys are planning to do those longer road trips. But overall, as you can see, the interior is still pretty much the nice, quality materials and finish that we've seen from the regular Armada. Just be sure that you're okay with all the red accents, which, by the way, this vehicle also comes with red seat belts because, as you guys know, that usually adds an extra 5 horsepower. Now, moving into the back seat of the Armada, remember, this is their flagship family vehicle, so you expect this car to have plenty of practicality, especially if you need to carry adults. Now, as you can see, this model comes with the captain's chairs. I wasn't sure if Nissan's going to offer it with the bench. You can get that on some of their trims, but I believe for this model, you're only going to get the captain's chairs. You can see the red accents continue back here. So you have the red ultra suede with the red contrast stitching. The seats themselves, you can see, have a really nice high quality leather, and you can also move this seat forward and back. It is manual, of course, but it also gives you the ability to recline, which gives you a good amount of recline so you can get comfortable on those longer road trips. Now, getting inside, you can see there's a nice grab handle here. And if I pull myself up, you can see once you're back here and shutting the door, Nissan says you have around 39.5 inches of legroom back here. 39.5 is a pretty good amount. I love the fact that the floor is almost completely flat, which is good if you have the model with the bench seat. You can see this is almost my driving position at 5'7". I can easily stretch out. I can get comfortable. I can cross my legs. There's a good amount of headroom space as well. I like how there's an armrest here, which folds down to give you a little bit more comfort. And then in terms of the materials, you can see that same ultra suede from the front carries over back here along with the ambient lighting. Nice padded leather here, of course. And then you can see in the center part area, you have your tri-zone climate control function. No heated rear seats back here, no heated or cooled seats. So again, keep in mind there's features that the higher trim are going to have. You're going to have 2 USB-C charging ports, an actual 12-volt power outlet, no additional pull-out tray over here, but you do have, of course, an extra tray here with cup holders, 2 more USB-C ports, which is important for a lot of families. And then I mentioned earlier the headroom space. This sunroof does take up a little bit of the space, but I have a solid maybe 2 inches of additional clearance at 5'7". So again, this is a really nice place to spend time. It's one of the reasons why these big body on frame SUVs are so popular with families. But let me go ahead and hop into the third row really quick, and I can show you guys with that space. Camera guy is folding that forward for you. As you can see, Nissan makes it pretty easy, and this is also great design because you can leave a child seat anchored here and move the seat forward out of the way. So once you get back here, you can see, I'll move this seat back to show you guys the legroom space. Now, this is pretty much where the seat was in its full back position, and Nissan actually says you have around 33 inches of legroom back here. 33 is not a ton. You're gonna find a couple more inches in some of its competitors, but once you flip this headrest up, you can see this is actually comfortable for me at 5'7". Like I said, my knees aren't touching the back of this, which is nice. There is a kind of a carve out here, so it gives you a little bit more headroom space. I probably have like an extra inch of clearance. I like how big the windows are here because it allows you to have a view out. If you guys get car sick, you won't be able to, or you won't feel like you're claustrophobic back here. You also have air vents located on the ceiling, which is nice. A grab handle here. The seat also gives you the ability to recline electrically, and that's because it's a power folding seat. You have a USB cup holders back here, and the vehicle is so wide that you can easily fit 3 people across, which is why people love this type of vehicle because it's big enough to carry up to 8 people and tow heavy loads. So that functionality carries over even into the performance version of the Armada. So after seeing the all-new Armada NISMO in person, I have to say this was an unexpected surprise for me. I was a little confused at first. I almost thought it was like an April Fool's joke, but this is a vehicle that has been in the Middle East for a while, known as the Patrol NISMO. So after seeing this vehicle in person, I'm pretty impressed actually with the entire package. Once you see the design in the sheet metal, it actually looks better for me in person versus in photographs. The handling upgrades that NISMO has made, the extra power that the company is introducing underneath the hood, the visual cues, of course, certainly makes this the most aggressive version of the Armada ever. And it's going to compete with cars like the Chevrolet Tahoe RST, the Expedition with the Stealth Performance Package. So there is a marketplace for this. In fact, Nissan says about 30% of their customers tend to choose either an off-road oriented version or a sportier performance model. So there is room, again, in their lineup for this model. And if you guys are interested in purchasing the new NISMO version of the Armada, you're gonna have to wait until the end of summer, and the company wasn't ready to talk about pricing just yet. The current Armada starts at around $57,000 for the base SV with two-wheel drive, and SL starts around $62,000. Because this model is based off of the SL, there's a pretty big price delta between the SL and the Platinum. I would estimate this car is probably going to start at just under 70 grand when it does come to dealership showrooms toward the end of summer. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think the pricing should be, and if you actually would consider this vehicle, because it is definitely an unexpected addition, but it's kind of nice how it's here because it gives the Armada, again, a unique edge versus a lot of its rivals. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2026 Nissan Armada NISMO. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.